Boxing fan here, and the big fight today, Andy Ruiz v Anthony Joshua, will be on Sky Box Office for £20, I believe. And I just have a question: should this fight be on pay-per-view? Is this the fight we were promised? No. Is the undercard that great? No. So I personally believe we shouldn't have to pay £20 for this fight. I honestly believe that this fight card is not good enough for us to pay £20 for it. I feel that Eddie Hearn was on a trial in America saying that pay-per-view is dead, but we've got to pay £20 for this fight. And I think, boxing fans, we would have stayed to 4 in the morning. And realistically, is this fight worth £20? If it's a competitive fight, then maybe. But if Anthony Joshua blows through Ruiz, this isn't really a £20 worthy fight. The undercard's not that good at all. I've already made a video talking about how lackluster and how boring and bland that undercard is. There's nothing special about it. I've seen some people make some excuses about it. Well, this guy's coming back, this guy. Well, if they're just coming back, put them on normal Sky. Don't put them on pay-per-view. Just that simple. This is not for free. We also have to pay our Sky subscriptions on top of this. And then the pay-per-view. So what is that, like what, £40, £50 in total we're paying? Deontay Wilder just had a fight on free TV. I know people will say, well, AJ's more popular or this guy's more popular. That doesn't matter to me who's more popular. I'm not in the business of who's more popular. I'm not a social media expert, or I'm not a numbers man or businessman. I'm not making any money out of these guys' pockets. So who's more popular or who sells more pay-per-views doesn't bother me. What I want to see is good boxing. And I want to stop seeing the hardcore boxing fans be ripped off. You know, I think we had to pay pay-per-view for Crawford Khan, then we're going to be paying pay-per-view for Tyson Fury, Tom Schwartz. It's getting a bit ridiculous, isn't it? It really is, because these fights aren't worth our money. And realistically, in boxing back in the day, when there wasn't no pay-per-view, fights were drawing huge numbers on free TV. Huge numbers. We don't see those numbers anymore, and it's because promoters, fighters, everybody's gotten too greedy. I don't think British fans staying up to 4 in the morning should have to pay £20 for Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. I don't think every Anthony Joshua fight has to be on pay-per-view. I seriously don't. And I don't know why it is. We have to pay for Molina, we have to pay for Brazil, and it's just getting ridiculous. Is Anthony Joshua that big of a star where he could warrant we've got to pay £20 just to see him fight? I don't think so. You know, Anthony Joshua loves to go on about be humble, be humble, be humble all the time. But is he humble when he's charging us to watch him fight a late replacement fighter, not the guy we were promised, on an undercard which is lackluster, lacks innovation, is mismatches, and just nothing really spectacular. You don't look at that undercard and say there's any fight on there that I really care about. I know some people will be interested in the Kate Taylor fight, but I'm not a fan of female boxing. It's just the way it is. You know, I got far too much boxing to watch for the males, so it's just, you're opening a whole can of worms there, I suppose. But, you know, there's nothing on there that makes me go, wow, I want to see this. Of course, I'll watch it because, you know, I'm a big Joshua fan. I'm a fan of Callum Smith. I like Josh Kelly. I want to see what these guys are going to do. But at the same time, I'm questioning whether it's worth the £20 we got to pay for it. People may say, well, it's just £20, it's not that much. But it's the principle of the matter. It's the principle. And the principle is, should we only pay pay-per-view for big fights? You know, and that goes out to American people as well. Should American and should British fans have to pay pay-per-view for fights that are not considered big events, that are considered mismatches or are considered middle-of-the-road fights? Because this is what it's Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua. It's not really necessarily a big fight. It's more of a late replacement, middle-of-the-pack fight. Should these fights be on pay-per-view? Should we as boxing fans that are very loyal to the sport, that are constantly putting up with the shenanigans and the ducking of the sport, have to continue shelling out our pockets to watch it? And the reason why I ask is there's much more popular sports out there, like basketball, football, you know, all these other sports. They don't charge us to watch the finals. They don't put the finals behind some pay-to-win screen. So why does boxing feel it's acceptable for them to charge us pay-per-view for fights that aren't necessarily major fights? Tom Schwartz v Tyson Fury on pay-per-view is a fucking joke. That's a joke. An absolute joke. And I don't think Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua is too far behind. I don't think this is a pay-per-view worthy fight. I don't think it's a pay-per-view worthy undercard. You know what I mean? I think in boxing something needs to change. You know, we as fans shouldn't be stuck footing the bill for these fighters if they're not doing what we want them to do. If they're not giving us the fights we want to be given. I hear a lot of fans out there, they say, well, no matter who Wilder fights or no matter who Anthony Joshua fights, I'm going to support him, you know, they're this. I'm thinking those fans are not fans of boxing. They're fans of an individual, and they're fanboys. That's what they are. Anyone who says, I'm a fan of this guy, no matter what he does, I'm going to support him. This is not a football team or a basketball team. This is boxing. This is individuals. I want to see the best matchups. If Anthony Joshua's not fighting Deontay Wilder, he's not fighting Tyson Fury, or vice versa, then I don't see why I should have to pay top dollar for the fight. Because he's not fighting or going in that direction. I want him to. But then a lot of fans will come and say, well, you don't have to pay for it. You're right, I don't have to pay for it. But I'm a boxing fan. I want to watch all boxing, no matter what it is. This is not a problem exclusive to Sky. It's at BT as well. Us fans being shortchanged. No fan, boxing fan, should be happy. We're having to pay £20 start at 4 in the morning to watch a fight that could be a mismatch on an undercard that has no real 50-50 fights. That's a joke. And you can say what you want to say. You can say, well, oh, this or that or that, but it's bullshit and you know it is. Alright, I'm not here to be a fan of Anthony Joshua. I like the man, I watch his fights, I watch Deontay Wilder's fights. But I think you should take a leaf out of Deontay Wilder's page, put his fight on free TV, and you can come out and say, well, Deontay Wilder's not as popular as AJ. Who gives a shit who's more popular? Dude, what money do you make out of Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder popularity? You know what? Who's lying in your pockets? You know, I'm talking about for the fans. I'm talking about for us. I'm talking about for us fans that work hard and have to pay £20 for a fight that we don't even know if it will go past 5 rounds. You know, we are paying for what? You know, there's bigger sports out there that don't charge you for their big matchups. I think like YouTube shows football for free these days. Champions League, Europa League for free on YouTube. But for boxing, we're still stuck in this way of we've got to pay £20 on top of our subscriptions to BT and Sky. That's the problem. If this was like ITV, box office, you have to pay a tenner, and then you kind of be like, yeah, fine, ITV's free TV, that's fine. But we got to pay on top of our Sky subscription. So they put it in front of one barrier. We've got one roadblock, then we've got another roadblock, and I'm saying that's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Stop being fans of these fighters. Be a fan of the sport of boxing. Anthony Joshua's going to retire, give him 3, 4, 5 years. Wilder's going to be out the door 3, 4 years. New guys are going to come in. Let's set a new example in the sport of boxing. Well, us as fans, we want to be treated with respect. We want to be given the best matchups. And we're not just going to sit around and be taken as mugs and lied to by promoters like Eddie Hearn, Shelley Finkel, Frank Warren, Bob Arum. We're not going to be lied and mistreated. Because that's what a lot of us fans are. They're fans of Eddie Hearn. Why do you care what Eddie Hearn are a fan of him? I don't think Ruiz Joshua should be a pay-per-view. It's not the opponent we were promised. It's not a stacked undercard. So what exactly are we paying for? Just to see Anthony Joshua? Come on, man. That's ridiculous. I want to watch the fight. But what I'm saying is I want to change the precedent what we have as boxing fans. Not just in the UK, but in America too. American fans are getting the short end of the stick too, paying what, $75 for a fight? That ain't fair on them neither. Boxing needs to change its attitude towards pay-per-views. And I really want pay-per-views to go away. I think boxing should be on a subscription basis. Like Box Nation was quite well with that. They did quite a good job with that. I enjoyed Box Nation. But obviously that's all falling apart now, I believe. So what can you do? But I feel that as fans, if Joshua fights 3 times a year, we're paying £60 to watch Joshua. And how long do we watch him fight for? Probably not even 60 minutes. So, what's that, £1 a minute? Let's be real here, as fans of the sport, we want to see the sport grow, we want to see more people viewing the sport. I think pay-per-view should only be used for big events, like Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, like Tyson Fury Wilder, like Wilder Klitschko War. Any fights that's big magnitude, that's going to draw a lot of eyes, that is major, and where both men deserve big purses, where it's a spectacle. That's when I believe it. I don't want to stop any fighters from getting the money they deserve. That's not what I'm in this business for. I respect the fighters, I want them to get paid. But at the same time, I feel that promoters and networks are being too goddamn greedy. And they're robbing us blind. They really are, man. I'm not having it no more. I don't think Ruiz Joshua should be pay-per-view. Thomas Schwartz v fucking Tyson Fury definitely shouldn't be. That's an absolute travesty, that is. So hopefully we can see a change in the pay-per-view model. I doubt it though, because I bet this Andy Ruiz Anthony Joshua fight does about 1 million buys in the UK, because people love him, you know. Casual fans love him. He's very popular. And but I want the system to change. I want it to benefit us boxing fans a lot more. That's how I feel. I want us boxing fans to be treated with respect. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents on the matter. Thank you very much. This has been the Casual Boxing Fan.